What's up, everybody? I'm back with another Tool Deals video. And today we're going to be talking about battery operated portable generators. Now, I have three systems here from EcoFlow, and I also have one from Pecron. None of these were sent to me. I purchased them all. Okay, so I'm going to give you, I always do give you my unbiased review, but everything here I pay for my own money. And this has been a hard video to make because there is no one size fits all when it comes to these things. And I'm going to get into an explanation of why. I think that Pecron is coming out with, they have a E1500, which I've seen. You can pre-order it. It should be available later on this month. It's October. That might be the sweet spot for most people. But hey, it's not readily available, so I can't really talk about it. And I don't have it here. So, but we're going to talk about what makes a good unit and things to look for, and we're going to just talk about the overall kind of quirks with these. So let's just first talk about the main thing you need to look for: capacity. All right, you want to know the AC output of these things and their capacity. So AC output is measured in watts. So you'll see AC output and it'll have 300 watts, 1200 watts, 2200 watts, etc. And that is how much power it can put out. So if you had, let's use the River 2, for example, it has an output of 300 watts. So it can handle electronics that produce up to 300 watts. All right. The Delta 2 can handle things up to 1800 watts. So it can handle like drills, or we're going to test that heat gun in a minute. So there you go. Now, capacity is measured in watt hours. So you'll see 512 WH or 614 WH, watt hours. How many hours can it perform at a particular wattage? So if you have, let's use the Pecron, for example, it has an output of 1200 watts with a capacity of 614 watts. So if you had an appliance or an electronic that used 600 watts, it could easily handle that because that's half of its max output. It would run that appliance, if it was 600 watts consistently, it would run it for an hour, roughly an hour, right? So hopefully that clarifies that. So you want to measure that out, and you use, if you have a particular thing in mind, you want to grab you one of these. Be mindful that this taps out at 1800 watts. Okay, so if you have anything that you know, look at the back of your appliance or your electronic. There's going to be a label on there that'll tell you output, how much wattage it uses. You see down there, this is 1500. So it's going to tell you that. And you can use this. If you don't know, you can't see behind the thing, you plug this into the wall and then you plug your appliance into this. This will light up and it'll measure and tell you how many watts it uses. You need that. So you need to determine that first to figure out which one of these you should get. So if you had something that produced 150 watts and you needed it to run for a while, well, then the River 2 might not be for you, because the River 2 only has 256 watt hours, which means that thing gonna run for like an hour and a half and it's done. Okay, this is run for an hour and a half. Now over here, if you had something that performed that used 150 watts and you needed to run for 3.5 hours or something like that, well, this will be more your speed, because this will be able to handle, let's see, about 5 hours. This should run about 5 hours on the River 2 Pro. So that's how you want to determine, one way to determine which one you pick. The other thing you want to factor in is ports. How many ports do you need, and what kind of ports do you need? Most systems all have a 3-prong, but I'm going to show you something interesting on the Pecron, because these are actually 2-prong, and it's just a little empty space for that third grounding prong to go into. It's going to go to this empty space, and you can identify it as because it looks like a wider mouth, okay? So you'll see those, and you say, well, I actually want something that has some type of, let's turn this light on so you can see back there that though this is not technically grounded, there's some type of connection, metal connection right there. So I was trying to do research to see why that would have that versus that, but hey, it has something there, and if that makes you feel safer, then you'd obviously want to go with something that has a true 3-prong plug. Now, if you're going to be using your USB, I'm going to use the light because it's showing up better. Now, if you're going to be using USB-C a lot and you want something to charge quickly and have 100 watts, well, then again, the River 2 is not your go-to. You want at least the River 2 Pro. But I'm going to also get into why I don't like the River 2 Pro. I mean, I like it, but I just wouldn't spend the money on it. I would go that route. But we're then going to talk about the differences between these two and why this still might be a viable option for you. Now, another thing you might want to consider is UPS. That is uninterruptible power supply. Okay, all of these don't have that. The Pecron does not have that. So what is that? That means, let's say you had an oxygen machine or something like that, and you needed to make sure, you just wanted to make sure you had basically a backup to make sure grandma didn't choke in her sleep overnight. I know that was a crude joke, but that's actually real reality for a lot of people. So what you want to do is you have like your River 2 Pro plugged into the wall, and then you'd have your oxygen machine plugged into this, okay? What will happen if the grid goes down, there's a storm and the power cuts out of the house? This will instantly kick on and keep that oxygen machine running. Now, the Pecron does not do that. If you had that plugged into the wall, it'll be AC pass-through, and it'll run the oxygen machine. But when the power goes out, ain't nothing gonna happen. You got to come in here and manually turn that on, and then it'll power the oxygen machine. So if you were trying to get something for that reason, you want to avoid this particular Pecron, the E600. Now, the rest of these have little weird features that you may or may not care about. Like, for example, the Delta 2 has fast charging on old USB-A type of devices. And the Pecron has at the top, as you can see, wireless charging. It charges well. I put my phone on there. It charged at like 2 watts though. Like it started at 5, then went to 4, then went to 2. I took a shower and came back. I had like 20-something% extra, charge on my phone, which was insane because I have like a 5,000 milliamp hour battery in this phone. But yeah, so it all works well. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about weight, which is a factor when you're carrying these things around. So first up, we're going to go ahead and weigh the River 2. I'm going to put the River 2 on the scale, and it weighs 7 pounds, 10 ounces. And it doesn't feel like it's 7 pounds, 10 ounces. Now we're going to weigh the River 2 Pro. This is significantly heavier. This weighs 17 pounds, 12 ounces. That feels about right. Now we're going to weigh the Delta 2. This feels every bit of 20-something pounds. £25 pounds, 14 ounces. And this thing is in a league of its own, though, as far as power and ports and all that. And now we're going to weigh the Pecron, which, god dang, why this thing weighs so much. Whoo, my back. 20 pounds, 14 ounces. That was hard, lifting and reaching over there. You might say, well, the Delta 2 weigh more than that. But this thing weighs 3 pounds more than a River 2, which is this bad boy's direct competitor. And yes, I am using another portable power station to power the scale. This DB power, you don't want that. Which moves us on to my next point. This uses lithium-ion batteries. All these use the LiFePO batteries, which we already discussed. That's a no-brainer. You want that. They're going to last like 5 times longer than lithium-ion. And they cost pretty much the same. So that's what you want to do. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is just what these things come with. So the River 2 comes with its, AC adapter. I mean, not adapter, but it's AC cord. And then a charger for your car charger, basically. this to charge a device, actually. So I know this looks weird, but what you would do, you don't plug this in the front. You plug this in the back, and then you plug this into the car, and then you can put another. Then you have an extra car charger here, all right? Now over here, the River 2 Pro comes with the same thing, the car charger, the cord, and then also this cord to charge other smaller devices that, you know, charge plugging up into, I don't remember what these are called. They're just electronics that use those things. Like, I don't think I've even used an electronic like that in a long time, but y'all know those electronics that use stuff like that. We talk about, I am seriously trying to think of what I still own that uses that. The Delta 2 comes with the exact same thing as the River 2 Pro. But as we get over here to the Pecron, it's a little more impressive. It comes with more things. This big, giant charger. That's a charging brick. Yes, you'll need that. Then this also does come with your solar charging cord. Then it comes with also the cord for the brick. And then it comes with the car charger as well, which, if you notice, looks a lot different. It has that baby monitor port again, and you would plug that in right there to charge this bad boy up, not on the back like the other devices here. So now that's going to move us into ease of use. So I find the Pecron the easiest to use because everything's on the front. All your charging ports to charge the devices on the front, and all the output ports are also on the front. There's nothing on the bottom, on the sides, on the back, which makes this easier to position. All right, it's also easy to use because this thing can lay in any orientation, even though it's wobbling because it fell on this thing back here. But it can lay in any orientation to be protected because of these bumpers. This thing can, you know, obviously not on his face, but we just saw it goes on his back, and it also goes on its side. Now, if you're going to do it on the side, make sure it's not on carpet because those are the vents. The fans are on this side, and then the vent is on this side. So one of these, the air, you just got to figure out and put your hand, hold a piece of paper up, and see which side is pulling air in and which side is pulling air out. The side is pulling air in, that's the side you want to tilt so the air can swoop under there and come out the top. But you want to, again, make sure there's a hard, flat surface on the bottom. Non-porous, hard, flat surface if you're going to do that. The EcoFlows are in their orientation. They can't go any other way. But they can be stacked up. So if you had another River 2 Pro or River 2 Max or even this small River, you can stack it, the smaller one on the same size one on top of the other one. But that's about it. Let's talk about now, we're going to say value for last, but warranty. All the EcoFlow products, if you register them, have a 5-year warranty. Even the refurbished units. The Pecron, on the other hand, has a 1-year warranty. If you register it, you get a 2-year warranty. So that's that. Also, Pecron is a newer company as opposed to EcoFlow being an older company, so they're way more established. Here's another biggie when trying to choose. If you're going to use solar power to charge these things, you need to look at solar compatibility. The Pecron requires a higher voltage panel to charge it. It is not compatible. Will not use the lower voltage panels that are made by EcoFlow. The EcoFlows pretty much seem to be able to use any solar panel, which is very convenient. You're not locked in to any particular type of solar panel, which may cost you more money or be harder to access in the future. So that is another win for EcoFlow. So to turn these on, turn the EcoFlows on, you push the power button, power button, power button, power button. And over here with the Pecron, you have a DC out and then an AC out button. You push one of these, whichever one you want to turn on. We want AC out. So that's what we're going to push, and it, makes more of a fuss when it turns on. All these were silent. But here's the real test. We're going to plug this bad boy in and see what the heck happens. Now, this is 300 watts. Nothing should happen. we're going to go ahead and just push on. Woo! Look, it's pulling 380 watts. Wow, it's running it. That is unbelievable. That's so impressive. 400 watts out. 400 watts out. There it is, it cut out. Overload. Woo! Well, that was quite impressive. This thing got almost to 600 watts before it went overload, and it was hanging in there easy at 400 or 500 watts, just consistent. That is so good. Go ahead, EcoFlow. Now let's try the River 2 Pro. And again, this thing is 1500 watts. I'm gonna turn this on. Off the gate, 792, 800 watts. This thing is fading though. It's going in and out. It knows the power is weak. If I turn the heat down, you can hear the fan changing, and this is not going in and out. So we're going to stop it there. All right, now moving on to the Delta 2. That's weird. The River 2 Pro, I feel like, underperformed compared to the River 2. That River 2 did its thing. I didn't hear that thing bog down, nor did the screen blank out. And I set them both to 720 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is what I don't like about the Delta 2. You got your USBs on one side, and you have your AC outlets on the other side, and that's just cumbersome. Because what if I had this backed up, which I did, and now I got to make this thing awkward. So let's go ahead and plug this in here, and let's turn it on. And now we got to turn it back around so we can see the screen. And let's go. This thing should rip. $14.59 watts. I have this set to the highest setting, 1,000 degrees. $4.59. Well, that wasn't much of a test because we knew that could handle it. But yeah, it got to almost 1,500 watts, no problem. Now it's time for the Pecron. Let's see what she can do. It says it hit 1447 watts and overload. Let's plug it back in and see how far we can go. Okay, now it's saying it hit 1,500. Interesting. Now let me tell you what's interesting about the Pecron. I only sent this to maybe 800 degrees. And when this was, I had to put this thing on 1,000 degrees to even get it to, 1,400 watts. So that's actually quite interesting on the Pecron. So now let's just go ahead and talk about value. I have written down beside each one of these their regular retail price along with what the cheapest price is I could find for them today, whether that's on sale or whether that's refurbished. So the Pecron is normally $4.99 and it's currently $2.99 on sale. That's brand new. The Delta 2's regular price is $1,000, but you can buy this right now for $559 from their eBay store. From EcoFlow's official eBay store, it'll be $559, and it also comes with a 5-year warranty and an additional 2-year warranty from Allstate through eBay. The River 2 Pro, its normal price is $599, and you can find this refurbished for $419 through EcoFlow's actual website, and I can give you a code to get an extra 5% off, so they give you extra $20 off. So this will be $399. Now, in terms of value, let's pause. This you can get for $559, and this you can get for $399. We're talking about a $160 difference for 1,000 extra watts out, 4 extra ports, right? 2 USB-C 100 watt ports, and a larger capacity at 1,024 watt hours compared to 768 watt hours. In terms of size, as you can see, they're not that huge. It's not that big of a difference in terms of size and footprint. The weight is substantial. This weighs 8 pounds more almost. However, I still feel like the better value is with the Delta 2. I don't like the ports in the front and the back, but you're getting way more output. You see how it's easily able to handle this. Let me get this out of my way. My arm almost hit it. It was easily able to handle that. No problem. The River 2 Pro struggled. This is not a big deal. So handle pretty much anything you throw at it for extra $160. I think that's a no-brainer. So that's why I could not recommend the River 2 Pro. Now, the River 2 is $239 and can be found right now for $159 refurbished from their eBay store. Actually, on EcoFlow's website, it's $199 brand new, so you might want to consider that as well. But again, you're talking about 300 watts output. We just saw it really perform well, though, and it totally exceeded that 300 watts. The capacity is 256 watt hours, which you also, I don't know if you saw, it said it'll only do that for like 20 minutes. So you don't get a whole lot of runtime with that thing. So, to me, if you're going to buy one, I like the Delta 2. That is what I would go with. What the Pecron did, I mean, all these other ones outperformed the Pecron. And Pecron also doesn't have that UPS feature, which for me, it's important because anything that I'm having plugged into this will be something like an AC unit, a refrigerator, or something that I need to stay on. So this is not ideal for me. Their E1500 just might be different. That one does have UPS, and it has a 30 amp outlet, which I'm really excited to get my hands on. So hopefully this video was helpful. I know it was long. There's a lot of information. If you guys have any questions, and ask them below. I will leave a link to each one of these and the description. And again, hopefully it was helpful. See you guys next time.